Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Week 16 edition of the Maddog and Pino review. I guess we're going that direction.
Yeah, I think we're officially reviewed.
I think we are.
Yeah,
How you doing tonight, Pino?
I'm good. And I apologize to the massive audience for last week with the RSV got a hold on me that we missed. But I'm doing well. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays and first day of Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy
yes.
Kwanzaa to all. And I still walked down Candy Cane Lane today, coming into the podcast studio. I was fired up with that. And Leslie was working on a 1,000-piece puzzle. I think she put 14 pieces together. And she was pretty fired up about it.
She just started.
She said she started last week. Get out of here.
All right. Well, let's do our best to keep our listeners get them up to date after week 16, even though we didn't do a week 15
right, we missed
podcast.
a week.
But you know what? I think we can do that, like almost by exclusively covering this week, although there'll obviously be some references to last week. But the first opening remark I had was like, it is the year of the backup quarterback. And
there's no doubt about it. Huh?
And I'm just so Mason Rudolph, which we'll get into in the Steelers
Dude, I think
game.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but what's the number? Like 58 quarterbacks that started?
That's just what I was going to say.
Okay. All right, my bad. I know you're the stats guy.
Mason was a 58th starting quarterback in the NFL this year. So there's others that have played that we've covered that before.
And how many teams are there?
There is 32.
So that means there's like been
almost 2 per team.
5 times the amount of teams. Carry the one.
So just in the last 2 weeks, here's the teams that have won with a backup quarterback. The Raiders have won twice. The Colts, the Bengals, the Texans, the Browns have won twice. Steelers, Seahawks, Pats, Jets have won twice.
And that's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
And the Falcons, all with backup quarterbacks. So I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. That's 10 teams that have gotten a W in the last 2 weeks with a backup quarterback. So that trend continues. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe we're getting a little carried away with this. Yeah.
But wait, haven't the Browns won 3 games in a row?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I said in the last
2 weeks. Oh, okay. You're narrowing.
It would be hard for them to win 3 games in the last 2 weeks.
All right. So you're like our sample size is smaller. I'm looking macro. You're going micro.
Exactly. I'm just trying to zero it in the last couple weeks. All right. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe we're just getting carried away with this. Like, so then I'm like, all right, let's look at the top 3 seeds in each conference. And I looked at Baltimore, Miami, Kansas City, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Detroit. None of them have started a backup quarterback yet this year.
True that.
So I think we're getting a little carried away with it. It's the year of the backup quarterback, and one of these guys is going to lead us into the AFC Championship game or whatever. It doesn't matter.
I don't know. When you throw for 350 yards a game.
And 3 picks and 2 touchdowns, so like you never know. All right, so I'm sure you have. So you've been biting your tongue for a couple of weeks. So what else? What do you got? On your mind?
So I think high level stuff, not game specific.
Yeah.
I texted you and Pup.
Yeah. 2
Sundays ago. Like Mooch was eating again, and we need a cease and desist order. Like I had the prop 2 weeks ago. Like I had to cut the leg, right? Yeah. And then I'm watching NFL Game Day on NFL Network, and Mariucci is eating a cutlet with marinara.
Oh my God!
And I was like, "What the?
Wait a minute!
Who's fucking stealing our intellectual capital? What is China involved in this?
We need better lawyers.
It's like AI." That was one thing. The other overall, this past weekend, Christmas weekend, it looked like it was back to the end zones of the old days.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so this, like in the Berg, it was like the yellow end zone with the Steelers as opposed to just the slash lines.
Oh, okay.
And every stadium seemed to be, have their end zones.
All right. Well,
I'll probably have to go back to opening comments later on, but
why?
We talked like 5 weeks ago about like the oil, like the
the
Oilers or the Texans,
whoever they are,
wearing their uniforms
against the Houston Texans.
Now they played this 2 weeks ago. They played the Titans and wore those fucking unis.
I know,
and I was just like
that just blows my mind.
Like I don't even know what's going on here.
It's like the Ravens wearing the Colts uniform
or
something.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like they may as well driven the Mayflower trucks to that game. And had Burt Jones quarterback it.
Oh man.
And then what else I have? But what I think probably opening comments. I think that's good.
I got a couple others. So we hit this one every once in a while on the podcast, but the pussification of the game, like there's at least one or two, if not more, bad roughing the passer calls. There was another one this week in the Minnesota game that I saw. But the thing that like caught me was 2 weeks ago, the safety for the Steelers, Casey, got ejected from the game and ultimately
I think you're going to defend him, right?
Suspended for the rest of the year. I'm actually not going to defend him. I'm just my point is that like that hit would have been like number one on the NFL highlight package that all the networks would have been running 15 years ago. You know what I mean?
So, dude, like to your point, I talked to my boy Billy Sauer today, and he had the same comment. Like he's like, these pass interference or the roughing the passer penalties are such bullshit. And he goes, who was that? Like that big fucking guy on the Giants that took out Joe Montana? Leonard Marshall, right?
Yeah. And definitely be roughing the passer today.
Right. And when he hit him in the back and it looked like Montana like needed to go into traction.
Exactly. Immediately.
And we were both joking like he would have been in fucking jail today.
Yeah.
If he made that hit.
So this one was interesting because so I actually looked it up. So the concept of a defenseless receiver, there actually was a defensive player for like people catching punts and shit like that before. But the concept of a defenseless receiver didn't exist until 2009.
Oh, you did some research.
Yeah. So like literally, you
got the Sean Payton glasses on too. So now like you look very.
You can throw out
professorial.
You can throw out all the like was he defenseless or all that shit started in 2009. And the other interesting thing about
I don't know if you run across the field and you catch the ball, and you're trying to like put your foot down, so you're probably defenseless, right?
So I'll take it. Yeah, exactly. So like when are you like the definition of when he's defenseless is like very, very gray and no one knows what to do. And then Tom Brady actually took it a little farther. He's like, when are we going to start like penalizing these quarterbacks for like, putting their receivers in harm's way? This is the first time I actually love Tom Brady.
Right, no doubt. And this is 2 weeks after he's like, hey, the whole league's mediocre.
Exactly. Right? Oh, man.
But the refereeing, dude, is so inconsistent.
I agree.
It's unbelievable.
So I don't think we've talked about this. I think I had this on opening comments, and I just said we'll talk about it later at some point. But there's been many proposed solutions, all of which are better than what they have fucking now, right? So
what are they?
So let no more
Gene Saratori make all the calls.
No more, or no, don't give him any more challenges, but you can challenge every call. That's one. Bill Belichick proposed that. Do what the XFL had and have a sky judge that anything that's like define it, last 5 minutes, game change, whatever you want to define it, but the sky judge gets to make the call.
Like you could propose every call.
You could challenge every call.
How long do you think the game would take?
No, that's the point. You still get 2 challenges. That's it.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I don't know. So there's solutions to fixing this, but it's becoming a problem. And I guarantee you one of the playoff games will come down to a bad fucking referee call, and we'll have this whole debate.
But that's gone on since we were born.
I know. So
right.
So the traditionalists would say it's part. Human error is part of the game, and both teams got to live with it, and blah blah blah. But I don't know.
Like, what do you think if they had replay cameras for Franco's miraculous catch? Would the ball have hit the ground?
R.I.P. Franco is a year since he died.
No, I know. God bless him. But what I'm saying is, you know what I mean? Shit happens.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But it just seems like the stakes are higher than they used to be. Like, and they're missing more calls. They're probably missing the same number of calls, but there's so much we can see it so much better. We know they're missing calls.
Well, I think the stakes are so much higher because there's so much promotion of gambling.
Exactly, and now
that's why that's the problem.
Yep. So I think they're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, they will.
Right. The only other opening comment I had was like the MVP race. So I think we touched on it a couple weeks ago, and we are like, maybe a wide receiver can win it, maybe like it'll be a non-quarterback, maybe a defensive player. Anyway, so it's just amazing how much it changes. 3 weeks ago was like Dak Prescott's going to win the MVP, and then he petered out in Buffalo and Miami. We'll get to that. And then 2 weeks ago it was Brock Purdy, and he was like lighting on fire, best, like perfect passer ratings, blah, blah, blah. And then he threw 4 interceptions this week. So, and now it's LJ. Lamar Jackson, who's having a worse season by far than like 4 other quarterbacks. At least.
But you look at their record.
I know. So he's the reason they're doing that. But
so is Tommy DeVito, like, is he out of the MVP race?
I think getting yanked at halftime probably does it. All right. So you want to get in the games?
Yeah, we can.
All right. So I'm going to do this in descending playoff implications. So basically going 1 seed to 7 seed and then
no, I got one more opening comment.
All right, of course you do.
All right. Sorry. I had to check my notes. I can't read my writing. The Kelsey brothers are beyond overexposed.
Yeah,
they had a Christmas song that everyone was promoting.
I didn't even see that.
No, you don't even know about that?
No, thank God I didn't see
and
that.
like not Jason. Who's the center?
Jason, yeah. Right?
Oh yeah, Jason Kelsey, the center. Yeah. Like he's kind of the lead singer on it, and he kind of wrote it. I saw like a thing on Fox on Sunday.
I'm so happy I didn't see this.
It's just like, fuck, enough already. Like, enough already.
I love the fact that they're starting to like focus on him moving the ball on the tush push, like he like moves it up a half yard,
right,
or a yard and a half,
right, and fuck the Giants over. We'll get into that later. All right, we'll get into it whatever we want to.
All right, so so I just thought I'd go, and this is gonna, so the podcast is gonna get less and less interesting as the longer it goes. But anyway,
no, I think I would argue. I would argue that
maybe more interesting. I don't know. All right, so the game of the week, it was the number 1 seed in both conferences. The Ravens 33 at the 49ers 19. The aforementioned Brock Purdy had 4 interceptions, 3 of which were in the first half. And even after all of that, it was only 16-12 at halftime. So you're like, all right, 49ers at home. They were running the ball like I think they had 8 yards of carry in the first half. Why they give up in the run, I have no idea. Anyway, they put them.
Well, because Kyle Shanahan's a genius.
San Francisco comes out, punt, 3 and out. Baltimore TD, interception for a TD, and it's 30-12 when the route was on. So I don't know what happened, but like I came back to Lamar Jackson. Like it is when an NFC team has to play him. I think they're like 14-1 or something like that against NFC teams when he starts a quarterback.
Oh, dude, he did that. They did that on the road.
I know. So like, but it is such a different like offense to defend. If you're not used to doing that, you can't gear up in a week to do it. So
but like watching the highlights and some of the game, he made throws that were like kind of like crazy, and that no other quarterbacks would make.
Yeah, and
it seemed like to me,
he's
impossible
like to bring
body,
down.
Like they were like beyond Mahomes-esque.
Yeah,
right.
And then I don't know, the 49ers, you would think of all teams, like you're down 16-12 at halftime, and then they just gave up on the run. I already said that, but anyway, it just seemed like odd that of all teams, Kyle Shanahan's like when you're gaining seven yards of carry, you're gonna like start fucking, and your quarterback just threw 3 interceptions, you're gonna keep fucking heaving it around.
Right, but didn't they at that point was Trent Williams out of the game?
That's
the left tackle.
That's a good question. I don't know. That's
I mean, I know he was in the second half at some point.
Yeah. And Purdy was too. Purdy got knocked out as well. But anyway, that was.
Well, yeah, I think they took Purdy out because they were just like, this is a fucking.
Well, he was quote unquote hurt.
Darnold came in, and started slinging it, exactly. Like he was at USC again.
Here's my chance. All right. So honestly, the Ravens look like the best team in the NFL. It's hard to argue with that right now. I
I
mean,
agree.
they play the Dolphins this week, which would settle the matter at least for the moment if they beat them.
But they have they still have 3 weeks to collapse or for Lamar to get hurt.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Lamar's healthy in January, and like that hasn't happened.
That's a shocker.
I know that hasn't happened in 3 years.
What, like 5 or 3 years, 5 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, they're gonna go if he's there. And they're playing at home. That's tough to see them not making it all the way there. To be honest, at this point. All right, so those are the number 1 seeds. I think going into the week, the number 2 seeds were the Cowboys and the Dolphins.
And that was supposed to be the greatest game of the regular season, right?
What, the Cowboys Dolphins?
No, the
yeah, it's
Ravens.
When you have
49ers,
it's rare that you get 2. Well,
but it was kind of a blowout.
Yeah, it was a blowout.
Yeah,
it was a blowout. What wasn't a blowout was a Cowboys and Dolphins game. Cowboys 20 at the Dolphins 22, and the Dolphins were all about the narrative this week. They got to change the narrative because they've never beaten a team with a winning record.
They got the coach with the coolest pants.
they blow out everybody until they had to play a team with a winning record, and then they get fucking smoked. So they did. They changed it around. I mean, the Dolphins, like, their what's everyone knows about the Dolphins offense, but when people aren't really talking about is their defense, which kind of like stepped up in a big way, especially in the red zone against the Cowboys. Cowboys Prescott, like
but the Cowboys were 1 fumble away from losing that game.
Yeah, well,
they should have won that game.
They should have won the game. Yeah,
and Dak, I think Dak, what do you say? Well, he played well.
Yeah,
I think that game wasn't on him. It was probably on McCarthy.
Yeah, it wasn't on Dak. I agree. Well, he did fumble at the 1 yard line or so.
Well, yeah, but right, that was early, right?
Yes, that was early.
Right.
But Jason Sanders, this guy's a kicker for the Dolphins. He's been waiting his chance all year because all they do is score touchdowns.
He's not wearing 46 like that old fat guy from the Giants.
He actually
is not kicking.
He had 5 field goals, including the game winner. So
yeah, and he counted them. He's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly. Good for Jason Sanders, man. But that does set up the Dolphins and the Ravens next week in Miami, I think.
I don't buy the Dolphins. Do you?
Their D's playing a lot better. Their offense is hard to stop. I mean. And they run the ball, so it's like it's not impossible. Like it's not like they're just like Eric Coryell throwing the ball around the field. They run the ball like really well.
Was Dan Fauster quarterback?
No, he was not.
Danny Marino?
No.
Or Bob Greasy?
Neither. None of the above. All right, so now again, games with playoff implications. Again, I listed what the top 3 were. Okay. One of the top 3 is the Chiefs.
We'll never talk about the Giants, right?
They're getting close. they just because they happen to play one of the top 3 seeds this week. All right, the Raiders 20 at the Chiefs 14.
Mad Pup, Patches, Linda, congrats.
Honestly, so they just got after it the whole game. Like, if Antonio Pierce is not hired as their coach, then like the bowl cut guys should like really get some new advisors.
So here's what I thought today about the Raiders, right? So they fucked up. He fucked up when he didn't hire the special teams interim coach.
Yeah, Pisaccio. Yeah,
right. After he took them to the playoffs when they were a disaster, if he doesn't hire AP, that's crazy. And especially I think I sent you and Pup the clip of what I think is one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in a playoff game of AP against as a Giant.
Oh yeah,
against the Packers. And I'm almost so I'm ready to go down to. I said, hey, I'll get the Mark Davis cut if they win the Super Bowl. They could fucking go in the playoffs and win a game. I'm gonna go get that cut.
All right. Well, the bar has been lowered.
And I love the Raiders with the throwback unis.
Yep.
Right. And the Chiefs look like a disaster, dude.
Dude, they're like yelling at each other. Mahomes is pouting and whining.
Kelsey's
and,
fucking
like,
throwing the helmet into the
I
stands.
know. It's like
while his like
they
superstar girlfriends and
they do look like just like spoiled brats, to be honest. I mean, and maybe
Correct.
they've always been that way. They've just been able to win, and you never noticed any of that shit. But
Right.
like now it's not going well, and they're throwing tantrums. It's like, fuck that.
The other thing I have to say about the Chiefs is this. My Mr. Blackswell kind of perspective on fashion.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, yes.
Nobody probably in the history of the NFL has wanted to wear the what do you call it? The jacket that you throw off when you run onto the field. Like,
yeah.
remember when we were kids?
Yeah.
Like everyone sat on the sideline. They had those jackets on, and then like, hey, we got a turnover, and everybody had to fucking throw the jackets off. Mahomes wears that fucking thing constantly, and like he wears it. They come out, and then it's a timeout, and he puts it back on again. Like exactly. He loves that fucking. He fucking loves that thing.
So Mahomes, all right. So the story of this game was the Raiders just like tortured Mahomes the whole game. So like literally every play he was running for his life.
Yep.
And I'm not making this up. He ran. Someone tracked it.
I don't think you can make anything up.
He ran for not. He didn't gain obviously, but he ran 1,000 yards on Christmas. 1,000 yards. That's how, because literally every play he was getting chased. Like that's crazy.
Crazy. And that game, it was crazy in that game. So here's the other thing about that game. So Nance and Romo, right? Yeah. They had their ugly sweaters on.
Okay.
Right? Did you see that?
No.
In the booth? Yeah, no. They did. They both had their ugly sweaters on.
I saw the slime.
And thing. Romo even wore the Santa hat.
Okay. He's drunk.
And no, here's why I know he's drunk. Because the Chiefs were a disaster.
Yeah.
Right? And he continued to reference to Lucy and Linus.
I did hear that. I heard that.
Not like Lucy and Charlie.
Yeah, I know.
Lucy and Linus.
Exactly. Like when does that happen?
If he said Lucy and Linus once, he said it 30 times. Right? And Nance never corrected him.
So the Chiefs will not have the number 1 seed. Therefore to get to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to play. They likely will have to play a playoff road game. Mahomes
they'll have to win one playoff game.
Yeah, Mahomes has never played a playoff game on the road, which kind of reminds me of Brady. Like in the sense of like, yeah, when you're playing at home throughout the playoffs every single year because the Bills sucks, the Dolphins suck, the Jets suck every fucking year during that run. It's easy to get to. It's easier, certainly, to get to the fucking Super Bowl every year.
But did you see some of their plays?
The Chiefs I think the answer is they're just not good, to be honest.
Right,
I really do.
And I think the reason is because their receivers, like, they couldn't catch a cold.
So I have a more.
They lead the league in drops, right?
Yeah, they do. But I haven't even. On top of that, their tackles are awful. So like,
yep.
So they basically have to hold Kelsey back in to chip, and he fucking hates that. So then, or they bring in another tight end so he can go over a pass. It's just, but the Chiefs are not good. They're not going anywhere.
I'm not down with the Kelseys right now, but that helmet throw was the best helmet throw I've ever seen. I literally, I'm not sure, but I think it bounced into the stands.
He's trying to get it to his
girlfriend. Well, his girlfriend was up in the box, like, consoling
I know.
Patty Mahomes' wife. Like, I have my 87 Santa hat on. You have your 15 hat on.
Exactly. What's going on here?
Right. Like, why don't we all have those coats like Patrick wears? And the other thing about did you see the, like the golf carts that Patty Mahomes gave his offensive lineman?
I did.
It was totally cool. Like, they were all customized with their numbers.
Yeah.
They're in fucking Kansas City.
I know.
Where the fuck are they driving those things? I mean, 8 months out of the year, those fucking things were in the garage.
They had like 4-wheel drive tires on them.
They better have a heater in
them. All right, let's go to the next game. Again, I'm just going in playoff descending order. I'm down.
I'm down.
So the Giants 25 at the number 2 seed Eagles 33. I don't know. It was 23 at halftime. I'm like, this is going to be a blowout. So I stopped watching. What happened?
All right. So here's the deal. So as much as I talk about like McDaniel, like, hey, the Pantalones, right? Like Mr. Blackswell, Brian Dable's the worst fucking dress coach in the NFL.
Yes, he is.
First of all, he needs to lose some weight.
Yeah.
He needs to stop putting the fucking hoodie over his head.
He's got to go on some journeys.
And so so Kaylee and I were talking as game's about to start. I'm like, all right, cut to let's go. LFG, right? And then 2 plays later, I was like, maybe not. right. And then I think Dable made the right call to pull. You can get a cut in New Jersey now.
Yeah,
they're like there's any deli you go to. Hey, chicken cutlets are everywhere.
Yeah, right. That sounds about right.
He's like he might be sleeping at his mom's for the next 5 years. What happened was, as usual in Philly with them, they got down. Thibodeau didn't make a goddamn play. I don't think he had a tackle in that game.
All
right. They can't, and they came. I mean, they came back like they had a shot.
They did. They had a real shot. Tyrod Taylor had a big part of that, right?
And there's no way. So here's what you got to juggle: Tyrod Taylor or Tommy Cutlets
or Daniel Jones.
Well, Daniel Jones for next year but I mean for the draft position. Like, why win another game?
Yeah, I know.
But I think
that's not the way coaches think.
That being said, I think they'll win the next 2. I think they'll beat Philly at home for sure. For sure.
All right, well, I'm going to bet on that then.
Oh. Hey, you know how I was on those 3 for 3 day.
You were.
Oh, and at least we covered.
Yes, you did.
Like we covered.
You definitely covered.
But there were, and this goes back to, and yeah, I'm not gonna like the Giants are not good, so I'm not gonna blame it on put it on officiating, but there were calls in that game that were like, what the fuck are you like? When
that's my point.
Jalen Hurts decided to stay in bounds at the end of the first half.
Yeah, that was
and
bullshit.
The ball came kind of loose, and the ball came loose, and then they called delay game on the Giants.
You know, honestly, even the announcer was like, "Well, I was actually in." I'm trying to remember where I heard this. I think it was in the car. So I don't know what announcer group it was, but it's like, well, if this was a game, that might be like a real controversial call.
Yeah, no, and
like, are you fucking kidding?
Right, I mean,
what difference does it make if it's a game or not?
The half should have ended. And then the other thing that no one ever you won't see it because it was kind of in the back of the play.
Yeah.
But the last play of the game when Taylor, it was kind of like the Hail Mary kind of deal.
Yeah.
Right. He throws to the end zone, and as the ball is in the air, literally,
I saw it shoves a guy out of
bounds. There's a giant receiver getting just
thrown
knocked on his ass out of bounds, and there is no flag.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. I saw both of those plays, and I agree. I think on the Hail Mary, although it wasn't really a Hail Mary, that's the interesting thing. It actually kind of wasn't. But like the Hail Mary, unless it's egregious and you had a chance to get to the ball, they're going to
okay. And that I don't disagree with, because it was like the ball was kind of nowhere near him.
Right.
However, any other
99.9%
of the time,
probably
if the ball's in the air in the end zone, and a receiver gets knocked on his ass out of the back of the end zone, there's, as we say, laundry.
Listen. I got 2 other things on this game. One is Jalen Hurts broke Cam Newton's record for the most rushing TDs by a quarterback. So
whose record?
Cam Newton's.
Oh, I thought you said Danny Newton.
No,
I thought you meant the guy from Caddyshack.
No, Cam Newton. And the other thing is, I hate the Eagles fans. We all do.
I hate their fans. I hate their coach.
But you know what? They were yelling, "Run the damn ball! Run the damn!" They're like sick of fucking watching them
Yeah.
risk it anyway. So I actually appreciated that the Steelers fans yell at.
Yeah. So anyhow, like it didn't like I didn't even, and the weird thing was I didn't even realize the Giants were eliminated from playoff contention. Like, when the game started, I was like, "Hey, we run the clock out. We'll be good to go."
All right, let's go to the number 3 seed in the NFC. The Lions 30 at the Vikings 24. Lions clinched their first division title since 1993. I wrote 83, but I'm pretty sure it's 93.
Last night at the hotel.
Gonna be a party in Detroit.
It's a girl every night and
so this game
I
was,
ain't seen the sunshine in
three
damn days. I've been fueling up on cocaine and whiskey. Wish I had a host of Hermosa Beach girl to miss me.
All right, so Nicky Mullins started for the Vikings again. He threw for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So.
Right. And he had his fucking ugly sweater on.
Yeah. And Goff had no turnovers, which means, like, automatically means the Lions win the game. I'm just telling you. Detroit. I mean, I've gone so full circle on them. I called them one of the best teams in the league earlier in the year. Then I'm like, they fucking suck. Now they're like doing everything right again. They can actually run the ball. They can, if Goff doesn't turn the ball over. I don't know. You could make an argument that they could beat, like, if they had to, like, go into Philadelphia, they could beat.
They could beat anybody, I think, dude. And here's my take watching them, and what I want to say, especially Gibbs, right, the running back.
That dude is so
fucking
fast.
Yes. Okay, so that's what I was gonna say. They are the fastest team I've watched on TV in a long fucking time.
It's not the same position, but I remember seeing OBJ when he was, before he ever got injured with you guys at the Giants, and like he was faster than every person on the field.
Right. And just watching it like in real time. I don't even need slow motion. Right. You watch them, and that fucking team, for like they can fucking run.
Yeah. So
but especially
agree.
Gibbs, and he runs like
it just like
with some fucking like like with some anger too, right? Like even like if he gets hit, he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna run you over," and then I'm going in. Then I'm gonna taking Mad Dog's Tesla, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, Giants are probably locked in at 3 seeds. So that means they play like that. No, you actually. I'm gonna get this later. I think it's highly likely they're going to play the Rams. And that's going to be an interesting first round match.
That'll be crazy, like with Detroit, but they'll be at home, right?
Yeah, they'll be at home
with Goff
at home, and Stafford coming back there. That would be that. I would sign up to watch that game for sure.
But they still have an option to they could still win the.
Yeah, I think.
Can they get the 1 seed?
Well, I think 49ers. That the 49ers play Arizona this. I mean, honestly, I think it's still a 49ers.
Okay.
But. All right. Again, this is not that interesting a game, but it happens to fall in my descending order of playoff seeding. The Jaguars 12 at the Bucks 4. So these are both 4 seeds right now. Jaguars lost to the Bucks. Bucks are surging, man. They've won. They lost 6 out of 7, but now I think they won 4 straight or something.
So here's what I want to know about the Bucks. Does Baker get his Progressive commercials back?
I hope so.
Okay, he should.
Those are some funny ass.
Based on the way,
rather see that than the Kelsey commercial.
Right, based on the way he's played. Right,
dude, he is playing out of his head, and they got him for like $4 million. That's less than we're paying Mitch Trubisky. I mean, like, it's kind of nuts.
Who's he?
Yeah, who's he? I don't think he's dressing this week. Yeah, he threw 283, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers again. And Jacksonville's they're in some hurt, man. They've lost 4 straight games, so who knows if they can even win the division at this point.
Well, dude, and it was announced today that like the Prince, Prince Harry, like it's like an AC joint sprain.
I heard that too. So
he's probably there's no way he's playing.
Well, you know,
at least this week. Although whatever, it's like, hey, He's like Big Ben.
Yeah,
except
exactly.
a smaller version.
Exactly.
Like, hey, just do some surgery on me.
I was gonna say Ben played with the EC joint in the Denver playoffs, man.
Right? Do some surgery on me, and I'll play this week.
So yeah, but I was gonna say the same thing. This guy is just not healthy, and it got even worse in this game. He just got through concussion protocol. He threw 2 interceptions on his first 3 drives. He's just not right, and I know that team's not good enough to overcome. Like, they can't win with CJ Beathard playing quarterback.
And what do you think? Like, it was like kind of like Doug Peterson was like ascending as like the greatest coach ever, and they've regressed big time.
Well, listen,
don't you think?
When you're star, I mean, it's
but dude, like 4 weeks ago, he wasn't hurt.
Yeah, that's true. But they didn't. They were in a winning streak.
Oh, okay. All right. It's my bad. I didn't. Okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't look at the stats.
I have to read the script. I have to read the script. All right. Let's move on to the next game. Browns 36 at the Texans 22. So Texans didn't have C.J. Stroud for the second straight week, but the Browns did have Joe Flacco for the 4th straight week.
No one in the NFL is closer to our age than him.
Dude, he's going to turn 39 this week, I think.
I think like tomorrow, like Saturday, whatever.
He's 3-1 as a starter with the Browns. He's thrown for over 300 yards in each of those games. I don't know what's going on, but like, you could do worse than Joe Flacco playing the way he is right now, and the Browns defense. Like, how far can the Browns go? I mean, seriously,
can you do worse than anyone for throwing for 350 yards a game?
Well, he's also thrown 8 picks over the last 4 games. But
well, you know what? But the other thing, I thought of this today, dude. As great as old Joe's playing,
yeah.
Amari Cooper, like, is this his 3rd team? Right, he played the
Raiders, Cowboys,
and now the Browns. Like, he's fucking, he's unbelievable.
He had 256 yards and 2 TDs this game. That was nuts.
You know what? It'd be crazy if they get and make a run into the play. Like, I don't want to talk about your division.
No.
But just because of that crazy goddamn mascot we've talked about. I
actually think the Browns are one of the more interesting teams once you get to the playoffs. They're locked in. They're going to get to the playoffs, but they can lock it up this week. But it's hard to imagine they're not getting in. And again, like I was saying, like Joe Flacco playing the way he is right now with that defense, and I mean, I forgot. They lost Nick Chubb earlier in the year, and they're still kind of running the ball. Like, it's like they're not a team I would want to play in the playoffs. I guess you don't want to play anyone.
You think about it, like the fact that Joe Flacco 3 weeks ago came back, right?
Yeah, 4 weeks ago.
So 4 weeks. So 10 weeks he was like mowing his lawn,
basically
fucking down with you at Hermosa Beach, fucking throwing football around, and now he's throwing for 350 a game. Like, how fucking crazy is that?
That is nuts, man. It is nuts. And you know what? Because he used to play for the Ravens, I have kind of always.
Oh no, yeah,
but like, I've heard him in interviews and during this run, he's like the most measured, like logical,
totally
chill guy, and I'm like, God damn, you're fucking cool.
Which takes me to and I know maybe we'll get to the game, but the fact that he's doing what he's doing right now,
yeah,
right. And the Jets decided, hey, we're not going to sign him as a backup.
I know.
And have him on the roster?
Yeah, fucking
just
nuts.
In case?
Fucking nuts. All right, so
enough said.
So the Browns are one team I think you wouldn't want to see in the playoffs.
Dude, that may be the best division in football.
I don't know, dude. We'll get to the Steelers. They're whatever. But we'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
All right. So the team that you really probably don't want to see in the playoffs, everyone thought anyway, was the Bills. Bills weren't even in 2 weeks ago. But anyway, Bills 24 at the Chargers 22. So, like I was saying earlier, I think the Bills took care of. They beat. Who'd they beat? they beat the
Chargers.
No, I know they beat the Chargers this week.
Oh.
They beat the Cowboys the week before that.
Oh, they did?
And they beat the Chiefs the week before that. Anyway.
Oh, you're following them
Anyway,
what are you, like Tony?
anyway, my point is, this is my point. This was a trap game for the Bills. They play the Dolphins next week, and so
and they had to travel,
and they had to travel to LA, and it was a Thursday night. I think it was a Thursday night game. I don't know. Anyway, and there's the Bills fans are all over. They're wearing their Santa hats at fucking the pier and all this other shit. But anyway, the Bills are scary because they're running the ball now. What's his name? James Cook had 256 yards the week before this.
I call him Jimmy Cook.
And Josh, when you give him that kind of running game, he knows he doesn't have to be Superman, and when he does have to be, it's like if it doesn't have to be Superman the whole entire game, it's like a different thing. I don't know. I'm impressed with the Bills. I think they're gonna like make some real noise in the playoffs.
Or as we say, I like to make some hay.
I compared them to this, and I didn't say this lately. I compared them to the 2005 Steelers when we had our backs against the wall, and then we won out. Bettis ran over Urlacher to win that game. Then we won every game until the Super Bowl. So I think the Bills are on that kind of run right now. I really do. Like the Chargers game, like could have been like a disaster for them, and they pulled through it against. Oh yeah, we got to talk about this. This is the place we talk about this against the interim coach, Giff Smith. And the reason the Chargers had an interim coach was they had let up 63 points the week before that against the fucking Raiders. So.
And that was the end of that.
So Brandon Staley and the GM got fired.
Speaking of the coaching carousel, like can I rewind a little bit?
Go for it.
Back to the Giants Philly game. I forgot to talk about.
Of course, it's about the Giants Phillies.
No, it's not. It's not about the Giants at all. I forgot to even reference that Ticonderoga number 2 is now the defensive coordinator for Philly.
I'm like, you must be really desperate, man. Didn't you know he was an offensive coordinator last year?
Right. I mean, he's like, I'll go back to defense. Hire me. But the beauty is, he still has the pencil.
Anyway, so the Bills are. It's all about the Bills Dolphins game. I think that's this week, maybe next week. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, I don't either.
Anyway,
I don't really.
That's
care.
what we got.
Like, I don't like. I mean, I don't
have no horse in that race.
I think the Ravens are going to win the conference, so it doesn't really matter.
All right, so here now, like I said, it's going to get less interesting from this point forward, and I include my Steelers in that mix. All right, so again, descending playoff order: the Saints 22 at the Rams 30. So the Rams have won 5 out of 6. Their only loss is that not bullshit, but that amazing punt return overtime loss to the Ravens, who are now saying are the best team in the NFL. How good are the Rams? I mean,
dude, I like to get pissed at him all year. I've been pissed at him, I've been shitting on him for 2 years. But like, he probably could be arguably coach of the year.
I mean, that
with that roster.
I mean, seriously, they're the youngest roster in the NFL.
Yeah.
Directionally, I haven't checked that, but I think they are. And Stafford, who played through a bunch of injuries, he's healthy now. Puka Nacua is definitely offensive rookie of the year. Kyron Williams, whatever, he's running for 150 yards. So like literally, how far? Like the NFC isn't like, I don't know. I guess we thought the 49ers are dominant. But I mean, I could see the Rams running through that.
I think it's open. I think it's wide open. Like it could be like that Giants, those 2 giant runs.
No, seriously,
that's what it could be like.
Seriously. So yeah, look out for the Rams too. Wouldn't it be funny if it was like the Rams and the Bills? Not Bills.
Hey man, we're gonna come out here. We're gonna play hard. I knew what I learned from the last time I lost from Belichick.
All right, so again, descending. I can't believe this game came ahead of the Steelers game. The Colts 10 at the Falcons 29.
And you know I didn't watch this motherfucker.
I know. So this is one of the backup quarterbacks that won a game. They turned back to Tyler Heineke.
If they could turn back time.
And Gardner Minshew got sacked 6 times, and like anyway, the Colts. I can't believe the Colts like manhandled the Steelers the way they did. So like, I don't know what to think of them, but they can't beat the Falcons, even if it was on the road. I mean,
But isn't the whole division 8-7?
Getting there. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think there's a 9-16.
Yeah, like it's an Artie Smith team with like the. Hey, if you don't groom with the groomer, then you're not grooming at all. That commercial. By the way, speaking of commercial, I don't know where's my. How do I measure my AC1?
I don't know.
And why? And by the way, why don't they show like the Viagra commercials during NFL games?
Exactly. Now that would make sense.
Seriously, I mean, like, hey. Call row.com or like SaturdayNight.com. Like, do that for 87 cents a Solidifil. Like, why does that not happen on an NFL commercial?
I don't know. Man.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
Clearly, I don't run ESPN or ABC or CBS or NBC, so fuck it.
All right, so now I can finally get to my Steelers, who are that far down in the
playoff
seeding order.
Before you get to the game, dude.
Yeah,
I just have to say, the two best pressers in the NFL are Belichick and Tomlin.
Tomlin says nothing
because they're not. No, and neither. But they're like 180 degrees from each other, right? Yeah, Belichick will come on and they'll be like, "Hey, so how do you think Zappy?
Word answers.
How do you think Zappy played? I think everyone played good, and we're looking forward to next week." And then they asked Tomlin some fucking question, and he has like he's Edgar Allan Poe up there.
But I think he rose to the occasion. We knew he had the confidence, and
the standard is the standard.
Like he doesn't say a fucking thing. But he does spew a bunch of words.
All right, so your boy, your wide receiver, redeemed himself.
So all right, so there are a bunch of storylines here. Not the least of which was they turned to Mason Rudolph because Mitch Trubisky turned into Mitch Trubisky.
And I told you earlier, like on Christmas Eve, Mason Rudolph, it's too fucking easy.
It was
it's
so
too
easy.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna let it go.
And he played better. This bar is very low, but he played better than any Steeler quarterback has played in this season for sure. Probably in like the last 3 seasons.
Dude, he threw the ball over the yard.
I know he threw for almost 300. That would have been awesome. He could have got 300. But he stretched the field. He got to a quick start. He didn't turn the ball over. Anyway, he like did everything you want. So the question is, why didn't they turn him to him earlier? And and by the way, why he couldn't,
because they thought he sucked.
He couldn't find a backup quarterback job. Like 32 teams passed on him as their number 2 quarterback this offseason.
I wanted to just call him Mason Reese. Like, remember that kid from the 70s, like from the Life cereal guy?
Yes.
That like spread the rumor about hey, you can eat
the
Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks, yes. But you know what? It was a great day for Mason. Like he played well, and like he's been through a bunch of shit, as we all know. But the crowd was chanting Mason, Rudolph, and as he
kind of like Derek Jeter.
Yeah. So it was actually,
don't you want to buy a Grand Wagoneer, like based on a Jeter commercial?
Yes,
like
Captain,
you
my
got the hot wife, and the 2 hot girls, like little girls. Like I'm buying one of those motherfuckers. I don't care if it's fucking EV or not.
So that's literally all I have to say about the Steelers. They are still in the playoff hunt. They got to go into Seattle and win, and then go against the Ravens. But the Ravens may just rest everybody. So like they literally could win the last 2 games of the season, but I think they still need help.
Dude, I think what's crazy about them is that like literally a week ago, if we did this podcast, we'd be talking about like, oh, is Tomlin on the hot seat?
He is. Like,
I think that was in my notes.
Yeah, literally.
And now they're gonna extend him.
Yeah, I don't think that was actually ever in question. I mean, even this game, the fans like walking in, the fans are like like fire Tomlin, fire Tomlin, fire Tomlin, and then Rudolph threw an 86-yard touchdown pass on the second play of the drive, and you never heard that again.
Right.
So it's just like the fans are just frustrated, and I don't think that the Roonies of all ownership groups aren't going to listen to the fans. You know, I mean,
yeah.
All right, Seahawks 20 at the Titans 17.
So one thing I want to talk about the Titans.
Yeah.
That we didn't get to from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think I sent you and Papa text. When the Titans won the game, and who was the quarterback? What's his name?
Will Levis.
Levis came off, and it looked like he was on a fucking steroid range. He came off like crazy.
Yeah, I think he roided himself into...
Right, no, he definitely did. Roided himself into, like I'm inactive.
So they had to turn to Ryan Tannehill, right? I think. I didn't write that shit down, but I'm pretty sure they did.
I think the Squirrel had more touchdown passes than Tannehill did in that game.
And the Seahawks, we missed it from last week, but Drew Lock led them to a very improbable victory last week against someone good.
Whatever was improbable. So improbable.
And then Geno was healthy, so they turned back to Geno. I don't know, but he
don't make the playoffs, right? Seattle will.
I think it's.
It looks.
If they're that deep in my descending order, probably I think it's going to be.
Well, I mean,
they're right with the Steelers.
If you have those Sean Payton glasses on, then yeah, I think they're getting in.
There are 4 teams beneath them.
All right, I'm down.
All right, so we can probably go pretty rapid fire now. Patriots 26 at the Broncos 23. Bailey Zappi threw for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. They took a 23-7 lead in the fourth quarter, and then Russell Wilson, I guess, brought them back 23-23, and then New England hit a game-winning field goal. You can tell I didn't watch this game, so because I just copied down.
You just wrote that shit. Like, what'd you find out of ESPN?
Exactly.
I think it's only because Peyton didn't wear the glasses in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think.
But he still does have the biggest poster board.
I think
of his play calls.
I think Belichick got his. He's. I don't want to say he's like. I don't. That's a bad. I don't want to.
How do we get into like the coaching, like the Belichick? What's going to happen with all these guys?
So all right. So, by the way, all right. So all these guys.
Belichick's 72 years old.
I can go through it, but all these guys that were like on the bubble, whatever, like we can go through every one of them. They all won this week, so like I don't know what the fuck. Like, let's go through it. I'll do it right now, real quick. So.
This is like the goddamn Declaration of Independence, or the original Bible.
So,
like Maddog, like if
Antonio
none
Pierce.
of these podcasts are going into Smithsonian, but Maddog's notebook is.
All right, Antonio Pierce won. What's the guy's name from Tampa Bay?
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles won.
Barry Dable lost.
I thought I could. Do this. I thought I could. Artie Smith won.
Oh,
Mike Tomlin. I'll throw him.
Artie Smith.
He won.
He's the big we've joked.
Bill
about
Belichick won.
We've joked about all year. The Arties.
Robert Saleh won.
The Arthurs
and Eberflus won. I'm just saying, like they all won.
The Bear. By the way, we have the Bears have to be the happiest team in the NFL.
They're just embarrassment of riches.
Like they can win some games, but like fucking Carolina keeps losing.
They can
we're still getting the number one pick.
Right? Draft someone else.
We're still getting the number one pick.
Somehow, I think they might fuck it up. I don't know how.
I'm sure they will.
All right, so rapid fire. Patriots lost to beat the Broncos 26-23. Packers 33 at the Panthers 30. I watch this game because I have to every freaking week.
Oh, right, because your wife.
And they just survived. The Packers defense is awful, like literally awful. It's
Are
like they cannot stop anybody, especially on the run. Bryce Young threw for 300 yards.
Oh yeah, if you give it the 30 to Carolina,
exactly. But they hung on to win. Like, and I think God I bought the half a point in that game. That's all I got to say.
I'll see you won on it.
I pushed fucking Packers.
Gambling.
Commanders 28-30. We can spend a little time on this game if you want.
Who did they play?
They played the what the fucks. The Jets were up 20-0 and 27-7 at halftime. I'm like, so this is a blowout, right? So they bench Howell for Jacoby Brissett, who leads them on 3 straight touchdown drives, and now they're losing 28-27. And Trevor Siemian, I don't know how that's even possible, but leads them down the field to get a game-winning field goal.
And here's the deal on that game is like before the game, Woody Johnson announced like everyone's coming back. Everyone's coming back.
I saw that.
We're 6-8 or 5-9, whatever the fuck the record was.
Yeah,
because we're still all sucking Aaron Rodgers' cock. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and we may fire everyone, but we're not firing Nathaniel Hackett.
No,
because we've already have Scarlet A written.
So that is the story that we haven't talked about. Is like shocking. But Aaron Rodgers is not going to come back this season. Like, so, really? Yeah. Did we really think he was coming back? Because we all had to like sit there while he talked about his rehab every week to say that he was possibly going to come back and do this miraculous blah, 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 blah.
I will give him credit for this, dude. No one has manipulated the media.
I would agree with that.
Like he has ever before.
He is, yes, he's smart. He went to Kale.
We gotta get tank tops.
We do.
Like Peg, the McAfee show.
All right, we're wearing tank tops next week. Certainly for September next year, we're doing that shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna start lifting.
All right, so the last game I have, let's say there wasn't more, but the Cardinals at the Bears. Cardinals 16, the Bears 27, and I didn't write anything down. Justin Fields.
If you can tell me anything that happened in this game, I'd welcome the information.
Oh man,
who cares?
All right, well, that's what we got, man.
No, I got 2 other things.
Oh, Jesus, of course you do.
I got 2 other things I want to like take up with you. One, the first one, and I sent you a text. You didn't respond. I think you like Greg Olson.
I do like Greg Olson. Yeah,
he is an irritating motherfucker.
Well,
he needs to.
He's trying to keep his job because Tom Brady's coming in.
No, he wants to go coach. Like he wants to be fucking Jeff Saturday.
All right.
Like you already said, like, hey, I want a head coaching job. Like,
he said that.
Yeah, like a couple weeks ago.
They didn't know.
He fucking doesn't stop. He's breathless.
I like Greg Olson.
Right.
He doesn't annoy me the way he annoys
the other thing. Well, he annoys the shit out of me. The other on the 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Fucking Troy Aikman gets better every week.
He does. He's so good.
Because he like when something's bullshit, he laughs at it.
I know it's awesome, and he calls out like the bad.
He calls out bullshit.
I
like
know. He really
he's
does.
Not like a blah, 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 happy shit about the NFL.
I agree.
So that's the. I think that's the only thing I had.
Can't believe.
Other than you could go to Jersey and get cutlets now.
I can't believe I still have something to drink after his whole.
So do I?
Jesus Christ! What's wrong
with
this?
I Cheers! Merry Christmas! Hey, happy Kwanzaa!
Merry Christmas and a happy New Year!
All right. Oh wait! One thing.
God damn it!
I told you earlier on. I need to shout out our boy Tim Clausen.
Yeah, definitely.
Arguably,
do you think he's going to listen to this point in the podcast?
Dude, he fucking. Okay. I don't even send him updates, and he listens.
Okay. Awesome.
TC, your call on the Gardner Minshew story, spot on, brother. And thanks for supporting us.
Thank you. All right, guys. We will see you next week for
hopefully I don't have to get that fucking Mark Davis haircut.
A 2024 edition.
Oh, shit. That's right.
The Maddog and Pino review.
Yeah, we're not even invited to the yacht club yet.